Welcome to the Solutions video skill for Khan Academy, making appropriate scatter plots. So we have a car company that wants to predict how much fuel different cars will use based on their masses. We took a sample, so here we have the fuel used and the mass. So we're going to have a few options here. When we're making an appropriate plot, the data is going to fill the grid. So that tells us it's either going to be graph A or graph B, because graphs C and D have a lot of wasted space, and the information you want to analyze and study is scrunched into the bottom corner. So C and D are not appropriate. Now the next thing we want to do is figure out what is our manipulated variable and what is our responding variable. So what do we control? So we either choose the mass and then see how much fuel is used, or we choose the amount of fuel used and then that somehow determines the mass of the vehicle. Well, we pick the vehicle first with its mass and then we see how much fuel is used. So the mass is the one that we control. That's the one we actively choose, and the fuel is a consequence. That means the mass has to be on the horizontal axis. That means we're on graph B. So here we want to figure out how much time it'll take based on the distance of a run. So here we don't decide how much time it is and then figure out the distance. That might be a little bit obvious even just looking at the numbers. We're more likely to decide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 than 5.1, 11.8, 17.7. The top numbers look like the numbers we pick. So our distance is going to be on the horizontal axis, our time is going to be vertical, and we're going to have the data nice and spread out. So there we go. Distance horizontal, time vertical, data filling the space on the page. That is graph C. Now here, the add length and the average product rating. So they want to see how they feel about the product on a scale of 1 to 10. So they're making the ads first and then asking people to vote on them. So the add length is what we're controlling. That's got to be horizontal. And the product rating is what happens as a consequence. That's on the vertical. So we want the add length on the horizontal, the average rating on the vertical, with the data nice and spaced out. So that is graph C. Now finally, yes, we choose the hours of exercise we do, and we measure the weight loss as a consequence. So the hours of exercise have to be horizontal, and the weight lost have to be vertical. So here we go. Exercise hours on the horizontal, weight lost vertical, again with the data nice and spread out. So that's where we want B and not A. A bunches it up too much. So B is the graph we want. So these are the solutions for making appropriate scatter plots on Khan Academy.